I want to share a dream that I had last night. So, if anyone is good at interpreting dreams, let me know. I took it as maybe it was representing something sudden or frightening, and then nurturing the situation and things will get better. But last night, I had a dream that something foretold me that there was going to be, it said, step back. There was going to be a large lightning strike outside the living room window. There was going to be a large lightning strike there, and so I stepped back, and then, sure enough, boom, boom, a lightning strike hit to the point where it made a huge hole in the ground, a very large hole in the ground. And then, after that, I noticed when I looked back outside the window, and it was a little bit different than the house. The house was slightly different in the dream, but because there was a larger window there at the door. But anyway, there's already a large window in the living room, but this was wide open, and there was an open window where you could just completely see through it at the door. And this bird, it was a dove, and I noticed the dove was injured. And I thought he might have gotten injured by the lightning strike, or something had happened. And so I went out there and I got that dove, and at first, of course, he would bite you on the finger, and he would bite at you and stuff. I actually did this with a red bird. I tried to save his life, and then unfortunately, everything kept going at him. He was a very persistent red bird, and he was definitely sure to live, but he didn't make it. But this is real life. But back to the dream, the bird was nurtured. I nurtured him during the storm, and I nurtured him for several days. And he finally, once he saw me feeding him, he finally stopped biting me. He just realized that I'm helping him. And I would hold him, pet him, he'd fly around. Well, suddenly, one of the cats outside got him. They got him by the neck. And just like real life, when this happened to me, where this red bird got gotten by one of my cats, and I opened up their jaws and pried it loose. Well, sure enough, in the dream, I pried it loose from the cat, nurtured it still continuously, and then it had enough strength to fly off, and it just disappeared. But the next thing you know, I remembered, I was like, oh man, I would like to know where the bird went. And there was all these doves everywhere, these white birds everywhere in this room. And I was like, well, it could be any one of these birds. Any one of these doves could be the bird that I nurtured. And there was one in particular, though, I was certain that it was that bird, that he had come back to see me. And it was a bunch of birds. I mean, there were just many of them all around. Just a room filled with doves. And that's the dream. We saw this room full of doves after that, and it was almost like a sanctuary for doves. And I knew that there was one in particular that was probably that particular dove. And possibly as it was coming toward me, I woke up. But there were so many in there, I wasn't able to tell which one was the dove that I nurtured. But I know for a fact that I nurtured it back to health. And that it was happy, I'm sure. So, does anyone have an interpretation of that dream? Just thought it was an interesting dream that I had. I've had several lately. Like where you're in upside down world, or you're like, I threw this stick and all of a sudden there were snakes all in the dream. In one of these dreams, of course, my mama and I are very terrified of snakes. We don't like snakes at all. Now, my mama has attacked a snake in the past. She has beat the crap out of a snake that was after Lizzie. Wherever Lizzie's at, I don't know. She disappeared. But she hit the heck out of that snake with a gardening hoe and just killed it because it was ready, striking and attacking Lizzie. But in the dream, in that one dream that I had the other night, it was like an upside down world. There were snakes everywhere. I was crawling along this bluff, and then I went to this weird dentist. I'll explain that in another video. But yeah, there was all kinds of things. But you'd throw a stick, and all of a sudden you were in this upside down. And I said, oh, the reason why we're floating right now, you float for about 5 minutes when you're in the upside down world. In the alternate reality. I said, you float for a few minutes, and then you're on your feet. Whatever. And I said, now we're seeing the stick that we threw into the water earlier. And it's floating upward, now it's going to fall. It was kind of strange, that one. But what do you think the dove dream represented? Do you think it represents that something good is coming? And I'm going to nurture things back to the way they need to be? Or that the lightning strike represented uncertainty, maybe? And then that the dove represented that things are going to be okay? I know the dove always represented the Holy Spirit, they said. So, anyway. Just documenting my dreams.